important is it's okay to feel down about things. Like, let's say work fatigue. You're working, and you're just tired of it. You don't want to do it anymore. You're done. That's normal. Even for a job that you love, you could be working at Pixar or Disney, and there will be times when you're just tired. You want a break. So when things like that happen, at least for me, the biggest part that I can do is try to take a step back as much as I can. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes, like in work, you can't just go, hey, I'm taking the week off. Bye. No, you've got work to do. You have to go in. Unless you have some vacation time that you could use, you have to keep working. But take some time in the morning, for example. So for me, I just did this morning where instead of getting up and just going straight to work like I usually do, I just went, okay, I'm going to put off some work that I would normally do in the morning, and I'm just going to sit down and think. And just, I guess you could call it meditation. I've never really done like official meditation. It's just kind of my own variation, I guess you could say. It's really just thinking things through and giving yourself that time to just kind of process the information, but don't go through and catastrophize. That's one of the things that happens with me a lot of times when I'm like in the middle of projects and I'm thinking, okay, I've got to finish this work, and then I've got two other projects, and then I've got to deal with this other thing, and I've got to go over there, and it's just one thing after another, and then you're just going, I'm falling behind, I'm getting worse and worse, and I can't keep up. And you start just looking at everything in a negative light, which is not good, because at that point it's just negativity. So what I like to do is first take my mind off it. So I got up this morning and I just read a book, something to completely take my mind off of it that I could just jump into and clear my brain. And it takes some time. The first few pages were really hard to kind of just put my mind aside and fall into the story. And this could be different for everyone. It could be going up for just taking a walk. It could be watching a TV show. It could be cooking something to that you can take your mind off of it. And then once I was done in the book, I just sat down and tried to process the information one at a time. So I kind of made a mental list of all the things that I had to deal with, and I just picked at one at a time instead of lumping them all together and going, look at all the stuff you have to do. And it's tricky. Sometimes writing it out can be helpful as well. And I just processed each one. What do I have to do for each thing individually, not as a whole, just each one? What did I have to, how can I accomplish each one or resolve each one? Or sometimes, which ones can't I do anything about? Sometimes life happens and you can't do anything about it. So if you can't do anything about it, you're still going to worry about it. It's still going to add that stress, but I shouldn't put it in the list of things that I have to do anymore, of all of this stuff piling on top, because I have no say in the matter. I I have to let it happen. And it's hard to let that happen, but I don't have to add the extra stress of trying to fix it either. So once I did that and kind of worked through all of it, a lot of the things that felt impossible the night before, where everything is just piling up and work is piling up and I'm falling behind on on these deadlines and all these different projects, suddenly it's not as bad as it actually was. It's achievable, and I can approach it in a more, I guess you could say, a more clear way instead of just trying to scramble at things. So for me, it's taking that time. So in terms of answering your question about mental fatigue, take that time to just process the information and figure out what it is that's making you tired, what it is about the work that's making you tired, and how you can address that. Is it maybe just taking a few more breaks if you can, like just standing up from your desk, walking around for 1 or 2 minutes, and then sitting back down? Is it because you're just doing the same project over and over and over? It could be because the hours are just so long. Well, how can you break up the day into smaller chunks? This happens a lot when I'm doing like Excel sheet work, kind of filling out survey data, stuff like that, going through a lot of spreadsheets, sometimes based on my job. Sometimes I'll be doing that. And when you're doing a full week of just looking at spreadsheets, wow, does it get tiring? Sometimes the days just drag by. But when I'm doing those, I set up a very specific schedule that allows me to work in smaller chunks, get up, do a little bit of something, and then come back down. I work the same amount, but the day goes by so much faster and is more manageable because I'm not doing an 8-hour chunk of spreadsheets all in one go. So I don't know if that answers your question in any meaningful way, but hopefully it helps a little bit. And if there's anything specific on that or any other areas you're having issues with, definitely let me know. Again, I'm not an expert at this. This is just the way I approach this. Hopefully it'll help someone else. But the reason I bring all of this up is in this animation world that we live in, there's a lot of stress. It's a difficult job. And you add on everything else that's happening. It's okay to feel stressed. It's okay that the dream job that you thought would be like your big be all end all, you're working on animation, the land of unicorns and cartoons and rainbows, and it's amazing. And sometimes you're stressed and you're not happy about it. That's okay. That is totally okay. There's nothing wrong with you if you don't feel happy in that moment, if you feel stressed out in that moment, if you feel frustrated in that moment. That's totally fine. It happens to pretty much everyone at some point. And you don't have to ignore that feeling and just go, well, it'll go away. Try to think through it. Understand why you're feeling that. And ideally, hopefully, it'll help you find resolutions to it and improve it so that you're not kind of digging yourself into a hole of frustration that you're just going to keep cycling in there. Now, sometimes it's just a passing thing. It's just a lot of stress in your life. And as soon as that kind of lifts, it'll improve. But yeah, it's totally fine to feel like